So today we shall be looking at questions based more on economic geography, that is paper 2. So this is our figure below. As you can see here, they talk about the gross domestic product here in billion rands. The year is 2022, the year 2021. You can see the amount in billion rands. Then here there are different activities like utilities, transport services, etc. And as well how they contribute to the GDP or their amount in rands. So question 1.1.1 says the dash of a country refers to the total value of goods and services produced by the permanent inhabitants of the country. Now the concept here is the word permanent inhabitants. So this one does take out people who are not permanent inhabitants. So we are focusing mainly on permanent residents and as well the citizens of the country. So this could include citizens who are working abroad or in other countries, and as well the citizens that are working or that are contributing domestically. So for this option, our answer is going to be the gross national product, or the GNP, as our answer, because GNP deals with the contribution by the permanent inhabitants of the country. That will include permanent residents or the citizens of the country, where their contributions is calculated under GNP. Question 1.1.2, it says South Africa's gross domestic product enables one to compare A, employment rates, economies of other countries, standards of living, imports and exports. Now, since GDP, we are looking basically what the contribution domestically, or contribution that is done by people within the country. So this could assist in comparing South Africa's economies with those of other countries. Of course, we use GDP to see whether there is growth in the economy of a country or whether there is decline in the growth of the, we can say if there is growth in the economy or if there is decline. So we can use GDP to compare. For example, we could say that in 2021, South Africa's GDP, let's say, contributed 30 billion rands. Then if we compare with another country, let's say Malawi, we say Malawi's GDP, it was, let's say, 15 billion rands. So this enables South Africa to be able to see its growth as compared to other countries. So that is why we say the GDP enables one to compare the economies of other countries with your country. Number 1.1.3, the primary economic activity that contributed the most to the GDP in 2020 and 2021. Now, the main concept here is the word, the primary economic activity. If we check on the given options, we can see that utilities, this is not a primary activity, so that's why we take that one out. Agriculture, this is a primary. Services, this is not primary. Mining is primary. So our focus is on these two. So we need to check and find out that which between agriculture and mining contributed the most to the GDP in 2020 and 2021. So that means we go back to our table and check between agriculture and mining. If you look at mining, this is mining here. If we check its contribution in rands, it was, you can see it was 213,459 million rands. It is for mining. That is agriculture. You can see it contributed 12,700, not really. This is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Yes, which means it contributed to 127,960. So which means this is the contribution of agriculture was low, yet the contribution of mining is high. If we look at the rands, the contribution in rands. So basically, if we go back to our options, it means we are going to take mining as our correct answer, because we could say in 2020 and 2021, in 2020, it contribute 213,459 million rands. Yet agriculture, it was 127,960,000. This is, so if you check in 2021 as well, mining contributed 220,293 million rands. Yet agriculture, it is still in 114,030. You see, so you can see that the value of mining was a bit high as seen in million rands. So that is why we say that option D will be the correct answer. Number 1.1.4, the tertiary economic activity that contributes the most to South Africa's GDP. Now we are looking at tertiary, so which means under tertiary, we're going to look at services, utilities, public admin, and transport. So all these ones, they fall under the tertiary sector. So we need to find out which one contributed the most to GDP. Let us go back to our table and we check. So we're going to look at services, utilities. Okay, so we said we're going to focus on utilities, services, transport, and public admin. So we need to check which one did contribute the most. If we start with the utilities, you can see their contribution is in 100,789 million rands. Transport is a bit higher, 3,442. Then with services, and so the services are in millions already. In public admin is low, so which means if you compare, the services are way higher in value as compared as compared to the other tertiary activities. So, which means our answer is going to be the services. So our answer will say it will be services. 1.1.5, construction is an example of a dash economic activity. Construction, as we know, it is not about extraction. So we're going to compare with this one, this tertiary, quaternary, and secondary. However, the answer is going to be it's the secondary economic activity, because as you know, it involves of putting up something new. It's like they are using raw materials like sand, water to construct a building. That's why we say it will fall under the secondary sector. Number 1.1.6, the economic activity that showed a decrease from 2020 to 2021. The economic activity which showed a decrease from 2020 to 2021. So we're having utilities, services, construction, and agriculture. Said we are having utilities. Let's move this. So we're having utilities. Let's check again. Utilities, services, construction, and agriculture. Utilities, services, construction, and agriculture. So the question is asking which economic activity showed a decrease from 2020 to 2021. Showed a decrease from 2020 to 2021. Let's start with utilities. You can say in 2020, utilities, they were low. It was 100,789. Yet in 2020 there was an increase from 100 to 104. So which means this one, there was an increase. If you check services, you can see 1,552, 1,600,000. So also here there was an increase. Good construction, which says it was from 108 to 111. Also here there is an increase. So you look at the figures, then agriculture 127 to 114. So here there was a decrease. So that is why we say among the four options, so agriculture showed a decrease from 2020 to 2021. Let's go back. So this means our option is going to be D. Number 7, the economic activity that contributed the most to the secondary sector. Once again, the economic activity that contributed the most to the secondary sector in the year 2021. Okay, let's go check again. So look at activities that falls under secondary. Firstly, we have construction and we have manufacturing. because we know services falls under tertiary, and as well utilities falls under tertiary. So our focus will be on these two to find out which one did contribute the most to the secondary sector. So we're going to compare between construction and manufacturing. So this is construction. This is our construction here with these arrows. So you can see with manufacturing, it is already in 5,000. It's 520,626. Then construction is 108,604. So you can see that manufacturing value is way high as compared to construction. So that is why we say manufacturing will be the right option, because it showed the highest contribution as compared to manufacturing. So we say our answer is going to be construction. Number 8, two statements below are true with respect to the sector contributions made to South Africa's GDP. Two statements below are true with respect to the sector contributions made to South Africa's GDP. Two statements below are true with respect to the sector contributions made to South Africa's GDP. All right. Let's start to check. They say primary sector contributes the least. Let's go check on the table. Say primary sector contributed the least. Let's try to use a different color. Let's use purple. So under primary sector, we have remove this. Primary, we have agriculture, mining. So if you add these two, you can see if we add mining and agriculture. Okay, let's check another other options. So according to the table, yes, we can see that mining did contribute the least, because if we had mining and agriculture, they are still not even beyond 500,000, the two of them, which makes the statement to be true. So this statement is to be true, meaning primary sector contributes the least. That is true according to the table. Then number 2, secondary sector contributes the least. Let us check on the secondary sector and we see if it also contributes the least. So under secondary, you can use a different color. Let's use this one here. Secondary. Secondary, we have construction, we have manufacturing. Yes, these two. So if you compare 520 and 10, this is not the least. It means that already the primary sector is contributing the lowest. So which makes this statement to be false, because it is through the primary which is contributing the least. Let's check on the quaternary sector. they say contributes the most, quaternary sector. So in our table, if we check, we don't have any activity that falls under quaternary sector. So this is primary, secondary, primary, tertiary. Okay, which means as well statement number 3 is false. This is statement number 4. It says tertiary sector contributes the most. We go back to our table to find out if indeed tertiary sector did contribute the most to the GDP of South Africa. Tertiary sector. So under tertiary, if we use a different color, it's green. So under tertiary we have utilities, transport, services, public admin. So already you can see that just only services is already in millions. So this makes the statement to be true that the tertiary sector did contribute the most to the GDP. So which makes the statement to be true. Right. Now, according to the question, it says two statements below are true with respect to the sector contribution, and we've identified two true statements, that is statement 1 and statement 4. Therefore, this is so said 1 and 4, yes, it makes statement B to be our correct answer, because it has statement 1, it has statement 4. 2, 4, 1, 3, the rest are not correct. Okay, so that is the first question, which was awarded 8 marks. Okay, question 1.3, it says refer to figure below an infographic on maize farming in South Africa. As you can see, it says record maize crop, total maize production 2010 to 2017 in million tons. Figure 1.4 infographic on maize farming in South Africa, and it reads, to earn foreign capital and support local maize prices for sustainable production, South Africa needs to export as much as 4.5 million tons of maize. According to SAGIS, up until 25th August 2017, a total of 1,103 million tons had been exported, keeping in mind that the market season only ends on 30th April 2018. All right, so you can see 2010 they show us the contribution, which was 12.82 tons, 2011 10.36, 2012 12.12, 2013 11.81, 2014 14.25, 2015 9.96, 2016 7.78, and 2017 14.32. All right, now the first question says, why South Africa has to export maize? And as you can see here in our statement, it says to earn foreign capital and support local maize prices for sustainable production. That is why South Africa needs to export as much as 4.5 million tons of maize. So, meaning our answer for 1.31 is supposed to be to earn foreign capital. I think I can use the blank page here. So, so to earn foreign capital. So that's one reason why it has to export, because we know the more you sell to other countries, more money comes into the account. All right. If you check again our question, it says as well to support local maize prices for sustainable production. Support local maize prices for sustainable production. That will be another contribution. To support local maize farms for sustainable production. Question 1.3.2, it says, in which years did South Africa experience its lowest and highest maize production? So this as well, we can look at the infograph to find when it did experience its lowest. If you look at the figures, I think so 2016 was the lowest. So lowest, 2016, then highest. The figures was 20. Yeah, it was 2017. So 2017 was the highest. Okay. Then 1.3.3, it says, suggest a possible reason for the demand for South African maize by foreign countries. Why are most of countries want to buy South Africa's maize? What could be the reasons? I think we can try to use this space here and say, one, South Africa produces high quality maize, because we know that when something is of a good quality, it will be on a high demand. Secondly, could say South Africa produces large quantities of maize, and as well we could say South Africa has good soils source for maize farming. Could say as well say that South Africa's maize is used as a staple food in those countries. That is why it is on a high demand. Then we could as well talk about factors such as maybe conflicts in those countries, conflicts. The people, they keep on fighting. So we see conflicts in those countries, resulting into low maize production. Could be, or maybe also they have poor quality seeds, poor quality maize seeds, resulting into low production, poor farming methods, erosion. So all those could result into South Africa's maize to be on a high demand, among other factors. Number 4, it says the trend shown in the infographic is an erratic as they made it easier for us, inconsistent, meaning it is not constant by rising. Instead, it rises, it drops, it rises, it drops. If you check back on the graph, on the infograph, you can see 2010 it was high, 2011 it dropped, 2012 it rose, 2013 it dropped a little bit, 2014 it rose, it dropped, then it rose again. So you can see that it is not consistent, meaning there are factors why this is the case, because if all things were fine, it's supposed to be just rising like this, just rising, see. But the moment we see it rising, drops, rises, drops, rises, drops, then there is a problem. So if you look at the question says the trend shown in the infographic is an erratic or inconsistent production of maize over the years. Give a possible reason for this. Give the reason for the inconsistent in maize production. That is for question 1.3.4. What could have caused maize production to be inconsistent? We talk about natural disasters, such as floods, which affected maize production. So meaning in that season there was less maize production, could have been washed away by the floods or farms being destroyed. Talk about also another reason for the decline could be pests and diseases, which attack maize, lowering its production. Number 3, talk about poor farming methods. Poor methods of farming, e.g. monoculture, which affects soil quality, because we know if farmers do not do crop rotations, the single or the only crop that they keep on planting, because monoculture means planting one type of a crop season after season. If that happens, those crops, they tend to take out all the nutrients from the soils, leaving the soils to be infertile, and that could affect maize production. They also talk about the effects of soil erosion, effects of soil erosion, which reduces soil fertility, affecting maize production. Because we know with soil erosion, the fertility will be washed away, which leaves the soils no longer good enough to support maize farming. Also, talk about labor protests, and strike on farms affects maize production. But remember, maybe you can as well talk about price fluctuations, which means price is not being stable. They keep on changing. This season prices are high, next season prices are low, hence discouraging farmers. So due to price fluctuations, farmers are discouraged. To continue with maize production. Right. But then someone could ask that, then what could have caused the rise in other season? We could talk about use of genetically modified seeds, which improved on production. As well, government support in form of loans, subsidies also motivates farmers to continue carrying with maize farming. All right, so going back to our question, we're answering the trend why it was inconsistent. It goes up, it goes down. For question 1.3.5, it says, explain what impact low maize can have on the economy of South Africa. Now, the impacts, as we all know, so this the concept here is the word impact. So, as I'm saying, the concept is the word impact, and another concept is the word low maize production. So how does low maize production impact on the economy of South Africa? Let's use the blank page. Answer 135. 1.3.5. Low maize production will result into job cuts, creating more unemployment. So meaning, the moment farms are no longer producing enough, they have to cut on labor so as to sustain those that they have. Secondly, I could say, so it will reduces on the foreign exchange. In bracket, currency, because we know the more a country produces, the more it is able to sell. So if there is low production, this will impact on the economy, whereby less money will be made from exports. Another point we could as well give results into low wages among the employees, because if there is low maize production, that means farms or companies dealing in maize won't have enough money to pay better wages. Instead, they'll have to cut on the wages to sustain the companies. Another impact would say to reduce on purchasing power, of customers, because if people are receiving less income, that means they will as well decline in buying goods, which now affects the economy of the country. And as well, you could say it will contribute less to the GDP of the country. What does that mean? Since there is less activities taking place, meaning less income is coming to the country, which means less contribution to the GDP. As well, we know that if there is low production of maize, low maize production causes the price of maize to rise, which affect consumers. So among other factors, because we know if there is less demand rises, and as well the higher the demand, also the higher the cost. So because of that, it will affect the economy of South Africa. Okay. In 1.3.6, it says suggest possible strategies that the South African government could adopt to ensure a more stable production of maize. Okay. What must the government do to ensure a more stable production of maize? 1.3.6, you can as well use this blank page. You could say the government can offer skills programs to train farmers on better farming methods. So this means that farmers, if they are trained in better ways of farming, this could improve on maize production. Secondly, the government should provide support in form of money, tools. So by doing so, this will ensure stable maize production, encourage farmers to use the genetically modified seeds to improve on production. Because we know the advantages of using the GMs, of using the genetically modified seeds, they are able to improve on production, quantity, can withstand harsh conditions such as drought. So they are able to give bigger seeds. So by doing so, this will as well result into stable maize production. As well, talk about the government subsidizing so as to protect protect local maize farmers. So to subsidize, it means the government paying a particular percentage to the farmers so that their maize is not sold at a cheaper cost. So by doing so, it will try to bring stability. Also, government ensure that farmers have access to market by improving infrastructures such as roads, roads. So by doing so, this will motivate farmers to engage more in the maize farming. All right. Question 1.5, it says, refer to the cartoon in figure below based on the importance of food security. The cartoon below. As you can see, you can note some information down. No hunger, only food insecurity. Good news, you guys. The media says we are no longer hungry, just food insecure. And down here you can see it says we'll work for food. Okay. So our first question says, what is food security? So to define food security as having access to enough nutritious food. So the concept here is enough nutritious food. That is what the examiner or the marker is looking for. Enough nutritious food. So when they say the word food security, because we know what food is, then security refers to safety. Therefore, if you have enough food which is nutritious, that means you are secure or you are safe of food. Number 2, why does the use of the words good news not fit in or not align with the message of the cartoon? Why does the use of the words good news not align with the message of the cartoon? When you check the cartoon, people are already miserable. Yes, the message says good news, we are no longer food insecure. But these people here, you can see, these are people still have no access to food. See? That's why you can even see this other one is checking for food in dustbin. People still look for food in dustbins. See? You can as well say people are desperate. People are desperate. People are desperate to work for only food. This means that the two things do not support each other, because the message says we are no longer food insecure, but according to the cartoons, once people are miserable, looking for food in dustbins, then they still don't have access to food, so which makes the two information not to support each other, because the message says something different, and that's why the cartoons are saying something different. Okay, 1.5.3, they said, even if there was food security, why would it not help the people in the cartoon? So they're saying, even if there was food security, why would it not help people in the cartoon? This question 1.5.3, and it's a blank page. And 1.5.3, which says, even if there was food security, why would it not help people in the cartoon? And we could say, people in the cartoon are still unemployed. You see? Meaning, how would they be able to access food? See? People do not have source of income to afford food. See? So if there was food security, because remember, they are not mentioning anywhere that food is for free. Meaning, yes, there is food, but people in the cartoon are not employed, meaning they don't have money or do not have a source of income to afford food. See? So this could mean, let's go back to the question. It says, even if there was food security, why would it not help the people in the cartoon? Also, people won't have access to food because they seem homeless. Or could as well say that food would be very expensive and these homeless people want to be able to afford. Okay, our next question says, in a paragraph of approximately 8 lines, discuss ways to improve food security in South Africa. In a paragraph of 8 lines, discuss ways to improve food security in South Africa. So question 1.5.4. How to improve food security in South Africa. 1, create more jobs so that people have income, afford food. That's one way. Alright, remember, the question is asking you to explain. So you give a factor, which is to create jobs. And how will this enable them? Because they'll have income to make them buy food. Secondly, the government to subsidize food, subsidize food to make it cheaper and affordable. So that is one way where the government, for example, to subsidize is like the government pays a certain percentage to the producers so that the food doesn't seem to be expensive. That is why in South Africa in particular, food is a bit cheaper as compared to other countries, because the government does subsidize or does pay a certain percentage to the producers. Another way to food security, to encourage farmers, encourage farmers to use genetically modified seeds, to improve production, because we know that the GM seeds produce large quantities, bigger seeds, which will assist in reducing food insecurity. And as well, the government would as well import or buy from other countries in terms of disaster. So where you don't have enough during those times of insecurity, so one way is the government to be able to buy food from other countries, which will make them to be able to sustain its population. So I said the government to build more industries so that more food is processed, because this will reduce on insecurity, meaning there will be a lot of food, which could as well result into the prices to reduce. Offer financial support and tax incentives to farmers to promote more food production. Incentives could be in the form of the government either reducing on the taxes that are being imposed to the farmers or giving them tax holidays. So in one or the other, this is to encourage them to put more efforts in food production, and as well to extend water irrigation schemes to farmers so that you don't struggle during a drought, because we know there are seasons where the rain won't be enough. Therefore, it will be the responsibility of the government to see how best to extend irrigation schemes to areas where people or farmers will be experiencing drought. When you said irrigation, this is the artificial way of providing water to crops. I think you must have seen this on those commercial farms where you see a lot of sprinklers of providing water to the crops. Okay, activity 1.7 talks about to choose a term in column B that matches the description in column A. All right, so they say industries that produce more pollution. That's gonna be A, heavy industries, because we know they deal in bulk raw materials, hence more pollution will be produced as well. A sawmill is an example of this industry. That would be a raw material oriented industry. Industries that locate anywhere, e.g. a cell phone industry. So that would be the ubiquitous industry, because we know they locate anywhere, because they know you have access to customers. Industries that locate close to customers, that would be market oriented industries. Industries that use highly skilled workers, that will be the footloose industries, because we know since they don't have direct contact with clients, so they have to usually employ highly skilled workers so as to efficiently offer services. In most cases, they do online services, etc. These industries may be found in the transition zone or in residential areas. That could be the light industries. Reason: produce less noise, less pollution, and do not require a large piece of land. Industries that are found in the break of bulk points, that would be the heavy industries. Industries that require large labor force, that would be labor intensive industries, because intensive means a lot of workers will be needed to ensure high productivity. So 1.8 as well, it's about the types of industries, the diagram with the statements below. So we're going to match the types of industries with the statements below. So number 1.8.1 says industries that produce perishable goods. So that would be the market-oriented industries, because we know they are called market-oriented because they need to move close to customers to ensure that goods are bought immediately. Because perishable refers to goods that do not last long, like dairy products, fruits, bread. So such have to be close to customers so that their products are bought immediately. Number 2, 1.8.2, industries that can be located anywhere and are not restricted by the location of markets or raw materials. They are not restricted by location of markets or raw materials. So that's going to be the Footloose Industries. Let's check this question again. Industries that can be located anywhere and are not restricted by the location of markets or raw materials. And this is going to be the ubiquitous industries. Ubiquitous, because we know their location is not influenced either by market or by raw materials, so they can locate anywhere. Number 3, industries can locate anywhere without an effect from factors such as resources or transport. This will be the Footloose Industries. So they don't need the transport, neither resources, so they can be situated anywhere. Like the telecommunication companies, you can talk about software companies. So they are found anywhere, but they are not worried about transport because in most cases they don't deal directly with clients. They can use online to sell their products or services. Number 1.8.4, industries that process bulk raw materials. So those will be the raw material oriented industries. That's why we say they are as well situated close to the source of raw materials, because raw materials could be heavy or could be bulk to transport. Number 5, industries located on the outskirts of the built-up areas because of noise and air pollution. So that would be the heavy industries. Because we know these heavy industries are found far away from the CBD or from the built-up areas because of too much noise that they produce, too much air pollution, bad smells, require a large piece of land. So that is why they will be located in the outskirts of the built-up areas. And number 6, industries located between the source of raw material and market. That's going to be the bridge industry. The bridge industry, or at times they call it a break of bulk. Right. Now, industries that occupy small spaces and can be located in the city center. So that will be the light industries. Light industries.